Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in this meeting. This we call it meeting, but it's more like a symposium, really, because we hear from different speakers and then we have a discussion. So I think it's more like a symposium. But anyway, it's a unification symposium, then, or unification meeting. So today is the 30th of May, 2026. I'm Christian Kwame Agbodza, and I would like to welcome you all to today's symposium, if I may call it that, going forward. And yeah, so our topic for today is actually an interesting one. It's on policing, intelligence, and continental order. Very interesting topic, considering the policing issues on the continent as we speak. So thank you all for coming. I would like to welcome you one at a time. And that is to appreciate you. As you know, the ancestors, the current generation, even though they don't know sometimes, and the unborn are appreciative of you because you spend your time and your money attending these Saturday symposiums on unification. So welcome Raspala or General Nonaki. Welcome Ifo Aikidi or Ikidi. Welcome, Sister Tapua. Welcome, Brother Windhoek, said WHK. Welcome, Sister Portia, PCA. Welcome, Brother Pigeon, and welcome back from where you traveled to, back to Nairobi. And then welcome to myself. So, as I said, the topic today is policing and intelligence and continental order. I'm going to share that poster briefly, and we're going to hear from our sister Portia on geopolitical analysis to see where Africa is heading in terms of whether it is closer to unification or still far away from unification. So thank you all for coming. Let's now ask Sister Portia to share the geopolitical analysis. I'm going to stop sharing now. Thank you. Brother Pigeon, make more people co-hosts as you are the hosts. Yeah, just in case. Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, Sister Portia, please proceed.
Okay, thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. It's about 13 minutes past the hour, 6 p.m. Accra, Ghana time, and it's the 30th of May, 2026, and this is the Conscientism Study Group. And I want to give briefly a geopolitical analysis. I want to start with an elder who has passed. Some of you might be aware of him, and some of you may not. And there's different names for him. And so I'm going to attempt to say this name. It's Nkosi Yama Nkosi. And he was a chief and was over the Ngoza people. And so
Sister Portia, you are breaking.
when an ancestor we may feel about them or not, we want to honor that time to know that they have transitioned. So if we can just have a minute of silence if there are no objections.
No, I don't think there are any objections to that. Thank you. Starting from now. Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much. And that's Zambia, and I mispronounce it. It's the Ngoni people. And I want to, okay, thank you so
Um,
much. So they're saying,
Sorry, Sister
yes, sir.
Portia. Um, can you just confirm that this is the king you are talking about? Yeah. Is it the one?
Yes,
Yeah.
I confirm.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Please proceed. Thanks.
Okay, so what has happened is, I got it, cuz no problem. What has happened is that Burkina Faso is up for another loan installment, and also what has happened is, one moment please, there has been a killing in the United States of America of a 16-year-old child, and she was hung on a church property. And I want to bring up these two different contexts on purpose. Thank you. Yeah, I want to bring up these different contexts on purpose. So we have a 16-year-old child who has been hung on a church property in the United States of America, and then we also have Burkina Faso that has is part of the Alliance of the Sahel States and is now already, it has an agreement with the International Monetary Fund, but International Monetary Fund, but it is now going through the next stage of getting another installment. It's somewhat over 100 million United States dollars. And when I see that, I see contradictions. Like, how can you hang someone from a church when a church, in how it's always sold, is that a church is such a sacred place, and this child's body is being hung on the church property. And they're even saying, which they normally do, in my opinion, with black bodies, is saying that the person was suicidal. And then the other part of it is also with Burkina Faso, we have the Alliance of the Sahel States, who has kicked out the United States of America and French government. And then now we are seeing that they are having this loan. So you have this symbolism of an alliance that is saying it wants to get rid of imperialism or neocolonialism, and at the same time is tied to these IMFs. And so I bring up these 2 points in this brief geopolitical analysis, is just to say that we are, when we're in these racial capitalist systems, there's a contradiction ongoing. And I was just, before we were talking, I was talking with Prof and King Brother Pigeon and Elder Welcome, saying that I was in a forum where they're doing a lot of good stuff. It's a Pan-African group, and I didn't get permission to say their name, so I won't say it here. But they were very, in much detail, describing how the racial capitalist systems are not a friend of black people, and they were using Kenya as a microcosm of of how brutal the system is. And then they themselves have their way of how they want to unify. They are definitely about unification and liberation of Africa and its diaspora, and they have their focus. They, very organized. But in that discussion, what they were saying, why I brought it up to Professor Kwame and the other King brothers, was that when they were saying this, they were saying, we just cannot be in alignment with entities that have sold out black people. And one of the entities that they were alleging was the African Union. And so the point I was bringing up with Professor Kwame and the other King brothers was, should we should the Kwame Nkrumah Trust, which we know the Conscientism Study Group is a a branch of the trust, should it go forward with having an application to the AU ECOSOC, given that there's strong views from some Pan-Africans that the AU is not of benefit to the unification, the continued unification and liberation of Africa and its diaspora. And we discussed that. I'll leave that. I won't go into that discussion. Yet it again poses this that I see in these geopolitical analysis. And then the other one I want to bring in is now the school children. There was a school, I put it in the chat, in South Africa that just, you have children now who are saying that, in inverted quotes, foreigners should go. And it got physical. So we are having these contradictions as we are in these racial capitalist systems where we are trying, some of us, to move towards the unification and liberation of Africa and its diaspora, yet we are working in racial capitalist systems. And this is why I said a while ago, I said we all can be considered sellouts, because how does our money contribute to the oppressions or keep the oppressions going on? Now, I myself, in my personal opinion, think that Africa and its diaspora have nothing to be guilty for in racial capitalist systems. That is not on our onus. Yet still, when I think about those examples that I've just given you, what happened with the 16-year-old child who was hanged in a church? What is happening where Burkina Faso, a very symbolic figure of telling the United States of America and France to go to what, and now they're in the process of, going through this agreement with the International Monetary Fund again. It's not the first time. And then we have what's happening in South Africa. And then we have Pan-Africanists saying, we should just stay away from the African Union. So we have these very four vivid examples that are happening this week in Africa and its diaspora. And how I see it is just a lot of contradictions. And that's what we will continue to have in racial capitalist systems, a lot of glaring contradictions. So I'll stop there. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, Sister Portia, thank you very much. I just want to share your last message on Burkina Faso. That's the message, the information you're referring to.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's the
another 105 million. So the IMF is trying to force Senegal to come back under IMF control next door. And Sonko is saying no, and he's been dismissed as prime minister. He's now, through his party, Pastel, been able to now become the president of the parliament. And then next door, he's a civilian. Next door, we have a soldier, and he's getting money from the IMF. I think we are confused as a continent, if you ask me. I think we are all just confused. Dialectically, we are confused. There is no foreign policy focus or direction in the interest of the whole continent. So thank you, Sister Portia, for sharing your thoughts. The time is 7:27. Any quick thoughts on these shared stories, and then we move on to the presentations? Yeah, thank you.
Does this now tally in with the health agreement that Burkina Faso has signed with the US?
That's a good question. So
does this bring us to a certain definitive conclusion on the stance of Burkina Faso?
Well, I'll be interested to hear what General has to say, because General is the one that
Exactly.
has been explaining to us
Yeah.
the importance of the Sahelian move. I personally don't think it's all negative, if you ask me, because dialectics tells us that in order for synthesis to emerge, there has to be antithesis. So, and an antithesis itself will generate a new thesis. Will clash with the thesis. So what we are seeing is a clash between the thesis and antithesis in the Sahelian states, and hopefully out of that will emerge the synthesis that we all like. So maybe it's not all negative. It's just the way social processes play out in real life. That you can't just walk away from certain things just like that. You have to if like navigate your way out of it. And it's possible that being soldiers that they are engaged in strategic moves. I don't know. That's possible. That maybe they are trying to pacify Russia geopolitically. I mean, to pacify Russia by saying U.S. You say U.S. Look, we are dealing with you as well. No need to intervene. No need to intervene in the Sahelian states. No need to bomb anyone. Look, we are dealing with you. Can you see? Please leave us alone. Whilst Russia is still there, so it's possible they are playing chess. Brother, welcome. You are a past soldier. I think you understand what I'm saying, or at least you were involved in in war. So I think
Yeah.
you understand what I'm saying.
A soldier cannot fight in two camps.
Precisely, especially when you're a politician.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Any further comments quickly? Then we
But
move to the presentations. Yes. Go on, brother.
one thing that we have to know,
Mhm.
um, as far as I'm concerned, we are halfway into Third World War. It can be a conspiracy if you like, but I would say with things as they are, should there be World War IV? I think World War IV will be triggered when Africa fully arises and arrive. Because then the whole world will be fighting Africa. Because they can never let go of their grip in Africa, on Africa. If they let go their grip on Africa, it means letting go on the supply chain of raw material, which no other continent or no other country will ever afford. I thought our next preparation would have been to prepare Africa should the time break that the world will be fighting us, for us to be ready. I thought the Sahel was going to take that task upon themselves to influence the whole region to get ready for that. But as long as we are not prepared to meet out any threat to anybody, nobody will fear us and nobody will respect us. They will only fear us if
If you were saying, yeah.
I'm confused. Just like you said, we are all confused. Thank you.
Yeah, and the confusion is stemming from the disparate and contradictory policy stances. AES throws out France, Ruto hosts France. AES throws out France, Faye travels to France and shakes his hand. The whole thing is just, it's like our leaders are confused. Anyway, who am I to say our leaders are confused? All right, if there are no further comments, let's go to today's presentation because this leads us nicely into our topic for today, which is policing, security, and intelligence and continental order. Yes. We have two hands up. All right, please proceed in this order. Tapua first and then Pigeon next. Thank you. Please proceed. Tapua and then Pigeon.
Yes, Chair, please allow me to just make a comment on
You are allowed.
the source of the confusion. I think it links with what we were studying on Thursday about external and internal pressures. Because whilst we might want to move forward in a particular direction, the world at large is governed by neocolonial forces. And therefore, we cannot totally disconnect ourselves at once without committing suicide. But we also need to choose what it is that we continue to engage in with them that does not tie us down. Then we can move on. It's almost like the situation with China. There was a time when China did not want or seemed to not want to engage with the rest of the world, but they've come round to realizing that for them to achieve what they need to achieve for their people, there is no way they can continue to be isolated. But it worked for them to stand on their feet. And remember, there was a time when they banned all churches and banned all religions to get the grounding that they needed, to get the philosophy that they needed their people to have. And then they've opened up because their people now are woke. I think that's where we are. Burkina Faso would love to borrow money from someone to do whatever they need to do, but who are they going to borrow it from? South Africa? Kenya?
But Sister Tapua,
That's the challenge.
our understanding is that having thrown out France, they are now mining the uranium, etc. And so they are now in control of that. So they don't need. In fact, we heard that they even paid monies that they owed in a very short while. I haven't looked at the finances. And so people did not expect that they will sign agreements with the US and also with IMF. But you see, they are not explaining anything unless I'm not listening. Maybe other people have heard them explain. You know, our elites don't explain anything to us. You understand? When they are
But
doing
Professor
something, they don't.
Kwame,
Yep.
I just want to come in.
Please do.
We have racial capitalist systems that say how we eat food, how we go to the toilet, how we breathe air, how we have electricity can only be by one particular currency, even though it's not even the quote unquote best currency in the world. There's the wine, the Chinese wine, there's the other stuff out there. But for some reason, we as a global society and how it was set up to King Brother Coco's previous presentation, we still are holding on to this dollar, even though we know the United States of government is heavily indebted to China. So why do we keep going to somebody who we know is not in our interest to farm our own lands? Is it because of the international agreements we signed? Why can't we claim, as per African laws, duress, which goes back to Elder Welcome's point, until we have our military presence, which will follow everything else? They're going to keep messing us over. The International Monetary Fund, we've already agreed, all of us here, it is really opposed to the unification and liberation of Africa and its diaspora. But like you say, maybe our King Brother Traore is playing the long game. I'm just saying we are all filled with contradictions. And that's why I keep saying we all could be considered sellouts. It depends on the purview.
Yeah, no, you are spot on. Brother Pigeon, please come in.
Thank you, Brother Kwame. I'm coming in and greetings to everyone.
Mm.
One, I wanted to notify you that I was interested to do my presentation at exactly 30 minutes as requested, probably. So
So
I
you
see
want to do
maybe
it
your
now?
presentation come after
No.
mine.
No, you can do yours first. It's fine.
Yeah?
Yeah, you can do yours first. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Secondly,
Mm.
I'm not going to mince my word with the Burkina Faso. I think the much we continue to understand them and think of how they are good, or maybe this is the reason, we cannot think for them. We know what they did, and the fact that they accepted the US deal for medical issues, now they are coming with IMF. Hold on, I'm not ready to understand them anymore, because you chase France from Burkina Faso to come hold a conference in Kenya. Then Kenya goes to the street to protest again. Faso are welcome the same IMF. What are you talking about? It's like you're moving in both sides of the continent. Someone moved this direction, someone goes back to the former enemy, someone moved to the same person. So we are all rotating, just exchanging the neo-colonial masters. So we move from France to whatever, British to whatever. You're just in the same circle when you think that there's anything progressive going on. So that one, I'm not even going to try and understand Burkina Faso. They're already showing us lights, some signals that are not positive. And the fact that we continue understanding them, we'll continue understanding them until maybe they totally sell out again. So if you allow me, I'll just go to my presentation, Brother Cobb.
Pigeon.
Yes.
What if they are going the Rwandese way? Where, Rwanda threw out France, including the language, and the leader currently was a soldier, and then they turned to America. In fact, he was trained in America. Americans trained him. In other words, I'm suggesting that it's an intra-capitalist struggle, and that is what is also going on. That in as much as they don't want France, they prefer to be closer to America. And then, Pigeon, what about the fact that maybe they are NAM, non-aligned movement? They look neither east nor west. So they are with Russia, but they're also with the US. And they are playing Russia against US, US against Russia. What about that? I mean, it's not as if Ghana and Nkrumah didn't get money from the IMF World Bank. I mean, their Kosovo Dam was built with World Bank money. Even for all the talk about Pan-Africanism, they're going to develop, At the end of the day, who financed at the time, the biggest dam project on the continent post-independence after Second World War? It was the IMF, World Bank. So I think we just have to be realistic. We have to realize you may not like your employer, but until you get a new job, you just have to, manage your employer in the meantime.
As for me, I will never sleep in the bed of my enemy, irrespective of what the circumstances are.
Because you are not the president of Namibia. That's why you are saying that. If you become the president, I mean, look at Senegal. Look at Sonko and Faye. Who would have thought that there'll be such a split? That Faye will be happy with France, the same France, and Sonko will say no. Who would have thought that? But it happened. So even in Ghana during the 1980s, there was a big fight in the government. And those who said, let's go back to the IMF, those who said, no IMF. And then there was a fight within the PNDC government. And then at the end of the day, people like Explode, that Amma here knows very well, they were chased out of Ghana because of the left-right politics, etc., etc., etc. So, it's not new.
Had Burkina Faso looked east for funding, would the East have said no? Most probably not.
We don't know, do we?
Most probably not.
We don't know. I mean, Russia doesn't have a similar structure, does it? And Brother Pigeon, the time is 43 past. Please proceed with your presentation.
Can you make me a co-host? Because now we are discussing
You
who is a
are.
lesser evil here. Whether we
You
look
are.
east or we look west or we look whatever. Whether we look forward or we look inward is a confused element that we are just going around and around. As if we don't want to look at each other. We just want to look east, look west, look forward, look wherever. So please make the conscious and sanity so that I can do small presentation.
Anyway, I've made you co-host and others as well. Please proceed. Thank you.
Is it the consciousm? I want the consciousm account to be co-host.
Okay, let me check. Yeah, done.
Okay, thank you. Now, I'll be doing something brief, very brief on...
Sorry, before you proceed, Sister Grace, are you there? Sister Grace. Okay, all right, proceed. Sister Grace maybe can't speak. All right, proceed. Thank you.
Now, I'll be doing something very brief on...
Sorry, I'm here.
Okay, Sister Grace, can you chair this session of the meeting?
This element of
presentation
this.
Are you able to do that for us?
All right.
So Brother Pigeon will present.
What's happening? Everybody, what's happening? Anybody's doing a presentation.
So far, Pigeon and I are doing the presentation, and then after that will be the discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we've got, is it Brother Pigeon
Brother
starting?
Pigeon. Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, Brother Pigeon, when you're ready.
Sister Chisomo, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, let me start very brief. Let me share again my screen. I'm doing a presentation and I'm focusing on the three elements, which is policing, and the other part was on there's policing, then there's a continental order and intelligence. So I'm not doing intelligence or the rest. I'm interested in policing by trying to see how we decolonize that policing in Africa. First of all, Pigeon Odimwengo, of course, from Kenya, and apologies for missing the Thursday session as I was somehow held back in the villages trying to check out the welfare of the people in the villages. So I traveled in the villages after so long period of time. So the land is still virgin. The people are trying to move up with some few activities. I didn't see a police station in the area, so whether our people are good, but I heard of cases of some of my people in the villages that are taken to the police custody. Now, I'm focusing on how we can transform this state-centric colonial occupation, which is the policing, into more of humanist or egalitarian communal service that can build our African traditional philosophy. So I'm looking at it from the traditional African concept, because I know we have moved up a bit. So if you look at the current police force, we realize that it is directly inheritant of the colonial era thing, of the colonial police servicing. Apologies for my network on that, but it comes from colonial police servicing, which was then colonial in nature, and the intention was very clear to maintain some few things in the community that I'd like to share. One, that police service was to control and protect the colonial administrative centers. And they were also trying to control the elite resources. So it was not too much of giving people safety and security. I remember some Mau freedom fighters telling me that they could walk within some part of Nairobi city and the police will stand there and ask you, do you have a pass? Which then became a national ID. And if you didn't have a pass, you cannot pass some areas within your same country. But also, this police services was also founded to enforce forced labor and extract taxes. You remember there was even some punitive tax like a breast tax, that every breast in a house must be taxed so that you don't give birth to women, so that maybe women will give birth to more children in the future. So you are taxed even breast tax. There was even heart tax, that if a man marry many women, you pay tax for every household or every house you have, so that you use polygamy. And there were other punitive taxes. So the police were also used to actually enforce such. They also used to, as you see sometimes, to actually crush the anti-colonial protests and rebellions. They did that several times so that they could maintain their so-called colonial masters in our continent. And lastly, they were actually cultivated. They cultivated a culture where police officers were viewed by local people as enemies. And this has gone on for a long time. There are some parts of the continent where if you see a uniform of a police officer, you just run away. But that has been tried a bit because you realize that there's a broken line here. And broken line is that post-independent states simply inherited the legal framework, operational protocols, and repressive machineries of the colonial police forces without even structurally resigning it for their own sovereign democracies of the society. So we just picked it completely. And that has actually brought a lot of issues. If you look at the few statistics, the continent is having a cumulative of around 2.2 million police workforce. And that tells you that in the total of over billions of people, this 2.2 million police workforce is even less in terms of the global requirement, where they say that one officer to 450 citizens. In the continent, it might be one officer to 1,000 people. As I've said in my travel to the village, I didn't see a police station from the city to the village. But probably now the people are served by few police officers. Even when there's a case, it takes time for a police officer to arrive. Or they'll tell you, pay for us the fuel of a vehicle to come, or there's nothing like this. So all those things happen. But the continent is heavily militarized. So we have military camps of foreign bases all over the continent. But the workforce for police is very, actually, in terms of the police force, not the paramilitary. Now, there's also been a lot of brutality associated to these police officers. We've seen what they do to Kenya. In fact, to my friend Julius Kamau, I shared some photos of how he was arrested. And last year, he was arrested 65 times as a protester. This year alone, I think he has been arrested over 20 times. Sometimes they torture. Sometimes they remember the Gen Z protest that took place in Kenya here. They kill a lot of us. Look at Tanzania election with Samia Suluhu. They kill a lot of people. Look at what's going on in Uganda with President Museveni and how he approached the NUP party. A lot of brutality. So there's a lot of 42% of excessive force used. There's also 38%, this is according to our barometer, there's 38% of excessive force used in managing protests. And those are cases of like Kenya cases. Remember the protests in Nigeria where one of our friends, Brother Tise, Kevin Anye, was also affected. And there's 20% of perceived as fully respecting human rights. So only 20% that appears to be more better. So this is how these forces have been. Now, countries have even tried to change the name from a police force to a police service, like what Kenya did. Change the name from a police force to police service. But then let's look at what we need to do actually beyond that. So I'll just give you a few examples on what Kenya tried to do, even though we are still very far away from what is expected. The Kenyan government decided to us with the community. So first, in Kenya today, a police officer is not only required to stay in the police camp, they can rent a house in the rental house spaces, either as intelligence sometimes, but they lie to us that they're integrating in the community. So in a residential where I stay, my next neighbor can be a police officer. So when they come home, they remove their uniform, they become civilians. They can come borrow you some salt, and you can help them as well. This is what they've been doing in Kenya, but I think it's also an element of not only integrating in the community, but also some sort of intelligence with the community. So this is what Kenya did. But even now, of course, we have friends. Like I stay close to the police training camp. So I stay close to the military police, close to the general service unit, close to National Police Service College, and close to what you call rapid deployment unit police officers. Some of them are friends in the shop where I stay, where I work on. Some of them, of course, are friends for intelligence purposes so that they can gather information. And I was given a story sometimes back, not the other day when I was meeting one of the veterans. He was saying during Moi era, President Moi was the second president of Kenya, who served between 1979 to 2022, that everybody was an intelligence officer, everybody. So a shoe shiner was an intelligence officer. A taxi driver was an intelligence officer. A teacher in a class was an intelligence officer. So that anytime you speak ill of a government, they'll come for you. But you see, government deploy all this not to gather information that can help government to protect the citizen, but to gather information to help the government protect itself from the citizen. So
He
apart
jumps
from
and
few
claps
things,
when you say,
Kenya has
but
even come
you're
up with
right.
what you
He's
call
like that to everybody. He's a treasured soul. I love him.
So sorry about that.
Kenya has come up with even what you call the oversight, police oversight authority, where if a police officer commits an offense, you can take them to that body to independent oversight police something, IPOA, independent police oversight authority. But even if you take them there, they still walk scot-free. We've seen cases where, of course, some intelligence officer arrest police officers. Others have been happening, but all organs are still corrupt. So what we need to look with the police officers, what I recommend is the traditional restoration of justice. The pre-colonial African society actually operated on humanist and egalitarian principle of justice, which was central in Ubuntu. So I am because we are. This is the way that can help rather than isolating, brutalizing, and institutionalizing individuals' dispute resolution that occur used to occur actually under the level of a tree. So when you had issues, we could sit down like the elders have sat down here. We try to sort some few things, heal social rift, restore community equilibrium, and integrate wrongdoers back to the community. So it's not that we never had wrongdoers back then, but we found a way on how we could deal with them. Rather than now, the continent of Africa is actually, rather than now, the continent of Africa is actually full of prisons. Our brothers and sisters rusting in prisons. We never used to have those many big prisons. But now we are taking them to prisons, leaving them from their family because they kill or because they stole, because of all those things. There's a way on how we used to deal with them. And that's what I'm recommending, that we need to transform it to that direction. We need to balance key things here: communal sovereignty, egalitarian mandates, and restorative focus. So decentralized police command and hand oversight to the community. Kenya has tried what you call Nyumba Kumi. Nyumba Kumi is 10 houses. So there are leaders of each 10 houses in this country today. So a group of 10 houses have a leader, so that the leader is a civilian who then can help sort issues with that community before they come to a village elder. So those frameworks, you can integrate them. We need also to ensure that we prioritize the protection of social, economic, human rights of the majority and dismantle those structures that safeguard elites, their land and wealth concentration. We need to focus on traditional police academies, from training in crowd control violence and martial tactics to meditation, social cultural counseling, and nonviolent de-escalations. These are a few things that, if we try to put them in place, can really help us to get somewhere. So the ancient wisdom need to be brought here. We partner with professional municipal marshals, with local leaders, with youths, with civil leaders, so that we can run a legal mediation circle. We need to channel also minority properties and interpersonal disputes through community council instead of punitive arrest registers. You take a child, a wife or a mother that had a daughter, a young daughter, and maybe stole maybe some food somewhere because they wanted to help the daughter, and you take them through this legal process. They'll be arrested for 10 years in prison. They leave the daughter here suffering. So all of these things, we need to find a way on how we take them back to how we used to live. It's not that we didn't have a way. So I'm calling for what we call paradigm shift of African justice. So the primary goal here will be from colonial protection, regime protection, and status quo preservation to restoring harmony and civil warfare. From militarist violence and custodial punishment to consensus mediation and dialogue circles. From sovereign military dictate top down to communal legitimacy and moral leadership. From occupiers, armed controllers of civilians to community guardians and peace facilitators. These are a few things that can help us refocus on what is needed. So the current, of course, AFRIPOL, which is a unified African continental framework for police, requires some reform from a club of police chiefs into an independent organ under the African Union. We need to ensure that we revamp the body to establish some binding continental human rights charters, standardize some non-lethal de-escalation trainings, and coordinate joint civilian defense. So these are a few things that we can look at as we try to transform these. But this is the path then. We need to start from legal audit and repeal all colonial era vagrancy, security, and public order penal laws across AU states. We need to move into Ubuntu training, integrate restorative, mediation, conflict psychology, and civil rights into the core police curricula. Move them into restorative integration. Establish local community justice boards to handle local conflict and isolate militarized units. Then this AfriPol actually should be also charting what you call Charter Civilian Overseen Pan-African Peace and Security Commission. So these are a few things that we can work on to see how we move this forward. So basically, that's what I wanted to present a bit. And I still believe that those men and women are our brothers, but we need to ensure that we take them from a system that was not meant to serve us, to reform or change that system to a system that can serve us, rather than seeing us as enemies and your brothers and sisters. Thank you. That will be the end of my presentation. I'll be here for some few minutes as well, as I'll be taking some break. Thank you. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you, Brother Pigeon. So do we do question and answer or we take the next presenter?
Can I suggest, Chair, that we move to the discussion? It's already 8 o'clock. I think Brother Pigeon's presentation has been very comprehensive. When I get to share my thoughts, I can just share some of my slides. So that's fine. Let's move to discussion. Can I ask Brother Pigeon to please send me his slide so that I can share it on his behalf, because I know he needs to go and rest. Can only be here for a few minutes. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Any questions, anyone? No. Brother Ifo.
Yes, revolutionary greetings. I've got a question. There are some people who've been brainwashed into believing that we need the... Can you hear me?
Oops.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
He's here.
Yeah, Grace, can you hear him?
Not now. Can you speak again,
okay,
Ifo?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Ifo?
Yes, I'm speaking. I'm speaking. Can you hear me?
Sister Grace,
I think, yes, Sister Grace is having challenges with her. Can you hear him, Sister Grace?
I can hear the rest of you, but I can't hear him.
Oh, really? Okay. In that case, Brother Ifo, you speak. Sister Grace will hear. Yeah, you proceed. It's fine.
Okay, my question is really, really short. Some people believe that police are necessary. I personally believe that we should abolish the police. I am wondering what is, I might have missed some of that because I was in a windy area, but I am wondering what is the response that you give to those who still believe that we need police? Because I don't think we do, but what's your take on that? Thank you.
So, Sister Grace, so Brother Ifo asked Brother Pigeon a question that he thinks the police should be abolished.
Police should be abolished.
That was his question. He's asking Brother Pigeon, why should the police not be abolished?
Right. And replaced with what? Okay.
Yeah, he's asking Brother Pigeon. He didn't say what to replace with. He just said, why shouldn't it be abolished? Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Brother Pigeon. Is he around or is it me?
He hasn't responded yet. So maybe, he's a bit, maybe he's just traveled back. So he's maybe tired, can't speak much more. So Chair, I think let's just tell
has anybody got a response to that one? Whether it should be abolished or not?
Yeah.
Anybody wants to comment on that? Sir Windhoek?
Yeah, Sister Grace, I just wanted to ask, the policing should be abolished. For it to be replaced with what rather?
That's what I asked earlier. So we haven't got Brother Pigeon to answer. So
Yeah.
maybe Ifo can enlighten us on that. If it has to be abolished, what then happens? Unfortunately, I can't hear him. Ifo? Can he hear me?
I don't know. Brother Ifo, can you
Yes,
hear
I
Sister
can hear
Grace?
you. Sorry, I'm driving. That's why I was slow.
Oh, oh.
Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Before the British showed up and stole our land, we had systems of taking care of our communities that didn't involve the casserole system of the police. So my question is, my thinking is not that if we should abolish it. I think we should abolish the prisons and we should abolish the police systems because they are not necessary if we actually return to the ways in which our ancestors maintained the society, because we had more elegant, more respectful, and more loving ways to handle people who may temporarily have lost their way, and we need to help to bring them back into
I'm
the spirit
switching
of
to my
Ubuntu.
phone. I might get
Yeah,
something better.
but that is my submission. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Sister Grace is changing equipment. In the meantime, yes, Sister Ida, you come in while Sister Grace changes her equipment.
Okay.
Yes.
I was quite impressed to see that Burkina Faso was sort of not fully abolishing prisons, but making the prisoners go out to work on farms and things like that. And I'm not sure if they were still in prison, but they were doing farm work rather than just be. Does anybody remember that? It was about a year ago when.
Yes.
Yeah, do you remember that? Okay.
Yeah.
So that seemed a good idea because I think they were told that it's a way of them learning to, when they come out of have served their sentence, they'll be able to find a way to grow things and be self-sustaining. Let's put it that way. So Brother Ifo isn't the only one who is on that line, but I do think it's interesting. Thank you.
Malawi has a similar program. They go out to farm and recycle furniture, make furniture and all sorts of things.
But Chair, if I may come in,
yes,
I think most countries, I'm not saying all, have some kind of rehabilitation systems in prison for prisoners. I mean, it is nothing new, as we all know. So, in fact, our brother Malcolm X, remember, he became what he is or was in prison. When he was in, it was when he was in prison that he started reading voraciously, and later on came out to be the giant that he is, with the help of Elijah Muhammad. So I don't think, in my humble opinion, that getting prisoners to work for free and then telling them that it's for their good or for their rehabilitation is necessarily the best. I think there should be choices for the prisoners because every person has what they are interested in. And so if we are going to have a rehabilitation program, then there has to be a choice. Those who want to go into farming, those who want to read, Those who want to, in fact, in some countries, they can do courses, can they, and get qualifications, and so on and so forth. And America, as you know, is notorious for doing exactly that. In fact, they have, in fact, some judges were arrested and jailed because there were deals with employers for prisons to have a certain number of prisoners. And here I'm talking about black prisoners, I mean, so that they can work for free on their farms, etc. And these were criminal enterprises that the federal government had to step in. So it may look good. I'm not saying that Burkina Faso is doing that. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that if we're going to look at rehabilitation, then it has to be made available to different opportunities. Has to be made available to the prisoners. Anyway, we are talking about police, aren't we? not
prisoners.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? I didn't hear Brother Ifo's response, but never mind.
I put my hand up to respond because I don't think that it's necessary anything to do with working for free, because then that would just be the American states why they, the amount of people that they put in jail just to get them to work almost for free or for free. I'm not saying that it should be for free, but I do think that if and in this country they do a lot of prisoners can take courses and stuff. There's quite a lot of rehabilitation via courses. And yeah, okay, it's about the police, but then the police also enforce putting people into prison. So, there are always ways and means of incarcerating people. And I think that, yes, maybe if there was also a way of getting people who are incarcerated out quicker than, say, years and years, or just getting them to work for free, it should also be looked at. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Ida. Yeah, is it not Mugabe who got all these qualifications from prison and so many other people? And China takes, I understand, its prisons to Africa. All those people we see working in Africa, something like that. Anyway, anybody else?
Chair, I can't see any hand up. I can't see any more hands up. But if I may come in then, Chair, with your permission.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, so listening to Pigeon, in terms of the new policing system that he was suggesting we have, I did ask him for his slide so that I can share it whilst we are here. But I haven't received it yet. So, but listening to Brother Pigeon, it seemed to me that if we are going to, and then what Brother Ifo said, by the way, I think Brother Ifo, I am in agreement with him. But my reasoning is this: if the police came along with the colonial state, you see, the police was an arm of the colonial state, and the colonial state was a violent institution that came to usurp African rule. We never gave them permission to rule us. They just came and set up shop and then started ruling us, and set up their own army and police. As you know, the history, the East India Company and the West India Companies, the royal companies, they had their own police force, etc., etc. So they never had our permission, and they set up these police, colonial police, who in some cases were very notorious for all kinds of anti-African incidents. But by the time the colonialists left, and Africans, educated Africans, I must say, decided to be those to whom the colonialists handed over the colonial governments, although they took the governments from the chiefs and not from the educated Africans, because they didn't exist at the time. Our educated Africans decided to keep the police. And then, as we are now aware, some use the police for very brutal actions. In fact, human rights violations, brutality, violence against the African people. Examples, as we know, in Nigeria, where the police, where there are more police officers than the military, because they want to oppress the people. So Nigeria is an example. Kenya is an example, where again the police are used to brutalize the ordinary people. South Africa is another example, where the ANC government, as we understand it, are those really behind the police brutalities against the Africans who are even trying to seek asylum or going to them for help because there are people attacking them, saying they should leave as foreigners. They go to the police station, the police themselves also harass them. We hear that the politicians are those behind it, according to Malema. Then we have Senegal, where you remember under Sakimo, Sonko and the Pastel Party were harassed here and there, and the police were used as an instrument of oppression, suppression, harassment, etc., etc. You see, so I think Brother Ifo, I agree with him that the police should be abolished. But the question is, replaced with what? I think that is where we as Africans can be resourceful, because we had our own systems before the colonialists arrived with their unlawful, illegitimate, and illegal colonizing systems. So I think we are in a position to create a new continental police, which is what I think we are. We are not saying that. In fact, we are not interested in neo-colonial police forces. Let's be clear. This symposium, our symposia on Saturdays, are interested in continental solutions, because the neo-colonial states will never have any good solution for our people. The South African police have been the same since apartheid, beating people, harassing civilians. They haven't changed. Yeah, the Kenyan police again also haven't changed. The Ghana police haven't changed. You know, it's just a question of the extent to which each neo-colonial police has appetite for violence, and whether the politicians allow them to be violent or not. You see, because the police themselves are instruments of the executive. You know, the police don't pick people up at night, in the daytime. You know, they themselves are involved in criminal activities. You know, so to be honest, I think we should abolish them, but we can't abolish them unless we have a new government on African soil, and that is a continental government that is put in place by we, the African people, and then we can decide the kind of police we need. You understand? Even we can decide whether the police should be a force or a service. Are they a force or are they a service? Some are saying they are a force, some are saying they are a service. Even those that say they are a service behave like a force. You know, they have no respect for us. You see, so so Chair, to summarize, I'm saying that if we are going to abolish the police, like Brother Ifo has rightly, legitimately suggested, I think then we need to consider the fact that it can't be done under the same neo-colonial system. It can only be done in a new dispensation, in a renaissance, in a new Africa. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more hands up? I also have a contribution to make, but
Has a hand up.
after everybody. Who's got their hands up?
Portia. Sister Portia.
Okay, Sister Portia.
Thank you. Thank you, comrades. Speaking of the traditional ways that we have them now, but unfortunately, they have been influenced by colonial police type systems. And we know, for example, in the United States of America, the contemporary police force came out of the oppressors allegedly who were patrolling enslaved persons. So, not a good type of system for freedom and justice, alleged by many civil society actors who have faced oppression by such forces. That being said, the traditional forces of what to replace, they already exist, but it's just now a return back to how they were not being a force of brutalization. But you can see them all over the continent. If you go into the local communities, there is some group of people who know what's happening in the community and enforce it accordingly. And I'm not talking about police systems. So if we can go back to those community ways of holding to account without the oppression, it is feasible. Maybe some people are torn because they have many loved ones who are served in the military forces, who served in the police forces. And you have, again, those contradictions I was speaking earlier. We cannot be in systems where our comrades, our families, our loved ones are dying at a higher rate throughout the world globally, and then say, well, that's only one bad apple. What will we replace it with? So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Portia. Do we have any more hands up?
Not that I can see, Sister Grace.
Okay.
Oh,
Hello.
yes, there's Sister Shaza has a hand up.
Sister Shaza?
Yes, please.
Sister Shaza, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, greetings. Yeah, I'm in agreement with the abolish the prison systems. The only thing that I'll be thinking of, or what would replace it with, like for instance, if there was like investigations into, say, a murder or any serious crimes like that, what would you replace that with? Who would you get to do the investigations and stuff? Yeah. And going back to the point with the police in Kenya and other Caribbean places, the reason why a lot of them behave the way they do is because they're just an extension of the colonial monsters, and they're just reinforcing all of their behavior towards their people. So, yeah, that's all I have to say on the matter. But yeah, I'm all for abolishing this prison and police system.
Okay. Thank you, Sister. Brother Piri.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, the presentation by Brother Pigeon, I was just wanted to ask, unfortunately he's not here, so it's just on the chat, but he's not really on the chat. That what makes you think that you should just abolish the police? Because what we are trying to do maybe is to clean everything and go back to where we started. But also should realize that the reason why police becomes corrupt, actually, it's part of the ecosystem within the post-colonial state that makes them do like that. Because I think he's giving an example of Kenya, because what has been happening recently in Kenya, yeah, might be maybe one of the things. But if you come like here in South Africa, where police can be unruly, but there are systems that actually punishes them. Actually, they're going to jail now. They've got commissions that are sending them direct to jail, whoever was taking advantage of the system and stuff. Whenever the institution itself is working, and it's able to create accountability, I don't think there's a problem with that, because to some extent we just need a force that is there for the people, that protects the people, that does not serve itself and its masters against the people. I think that's what we need, because even if we were to look for a new system, we will still need, because now the society that we have is much more, the way it is, it's more complex, unless maybe we go back. So it will need some of the ways of doing that, but I think it's a way of trying to rethink what a police mean with what we have, and also try to collect to regulate it. Because if you look at the police that we have, most of its decisions and stuff are always given from above and it trickles down. That's what they know. They don't just do whatever they want unless they are totally neglected by those who are on top. So I don't know, maybe I was giving an example, because I know in Zimbabwe, police force in Zimbabwe was very useful until the corruption started and the country was going down. Because now, if everything is rotting from the top to down to the bottom, the police are not paid well. They end up trying to find other ways that are not reproductive to the society itself. But the rot is not the police per se. It's part of the system, maybe colonial system or the failure of the post-colonial system itself. So how do we do that? How do we clean our police so that they will save the people? But to say that we don't need them, and even to try to maybe to find maybe ways like what he said, that they may be better ways of trying to, you know, to create a certain system, a new system. But abolishing them, I don't think it will work, because we need also such structures also for our own societies, as long as they are there to save the society. But one thing that was interesting was before the presentation itself, I think it was Sister Portia who was talking about Burkina Faso, and it's quite interesting. And I also saw the response that was given also by Professor Kwame and stuff. Okay, for me, it's a shock, because it's a shock that Burkina Faso is going to look for a loan. Most of my life in teaching, since I was in my 30s, now I'm almost my late 40s now, I've been teaching my students on development about the Bretton Woods institutions. And when they give you a loan, they're not giving a loan. They are trying to find headways of coming back in that economy. So if Traore have taken in, is taking that loan, they give him conditions. That's how the Bretton Woods Conference, the Bretton Woods institutions work, IMF and World Bank. They give you conditions, and their conditions more to dig into your affairs. There's no way you can stop that. And if you have chased the French, he's actually bringing back possibly the other institutions, possibly America and stuff. So I was trying to say that even if we say we know, maybe you've got some reasons behind the way he have actually stood and he have tried to revolutionize things. He was like sort of an example of what an Africa that is free can be. But taking a loan will never free you. Everything that you have said now, we have known about him. We start also doubting it, whether it's really independent, it's really him on his own. If you realize that there was a time when he even himself tried to align himself to Russia as a way of being against the Bretton Woods institutions, but now he's going back. So me, I start actually wonder. I'm not sure. Possibly have got better ways, but the way I understand these institutions and how they trickle back into your affairs, and when they give you the loans, they give you a certain condition in which they know that they'll find a way, a loophole in whatever it is. And whenever they give you those loans, they give you the conditions how to use it. So I don't think Traore will be able to turn it. I think Traore should go back to Sankara, who was the first one to really being independent until the day he died, when he cut off that. But so with this one, for me, it's quite discouraging. As a Pan-African, it's quite discouraging, because I'm tired of African countries being told what to do by external forces. And with this, maybe there's a certain good way. I don't know. I don't want to preempt, because I don't know the actual conditions and circumstances that Traore is in. But with the headways that he have done, according to what I know, I'm not sure he's doing the right thing. That is my position. But that does not make me really right. As a Pan-Africanist, when such things happen, I feel very uncomfortable. I feel very uncomfortable. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Brother Piri. And do I have any more hands?
Yeah, Mr. Ida's hand is back up, Sister Grace.
Yes. Sister Ida, go ahead.
I wanted to ask Brother Perry what he was saying about he feels uncomfortable with the way he's doing things, Traore, and I couldn't quite
Understand.
where the uncomfortableness came. Thank you. Maybe you could just explain a bit. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Brother
I just
Piri?
mean, yeah, I mean specifically on. I know you've been doing headways, they've been changing things and stuff. So I've been actually after. It was like an example. I remember when I was teaching my students, I was just giving them of how we can free ourselves, giving me an example. And I always used to compare him with Sankara's changes, you know, and other progressive African leaders who have tried to do that. Even the one for Tanzania,
Magufuli.
Magufuli, yes, yeah. But now what I'm comfortable it's only on that part of taking a loan from IMF, from these institutions or America. That's a bad precedence. Only that part. It makes me also start questioning what he has been doing, which I was actually supporting. Whether is it going to push the same progressiveness that we thought they have in the Sahel region, or we are going back. Maybe we are having 2 steps forward and 1 back forward, 1 step backward, or maybe one step forward and 2 steps backward. Only on that part of the IMF and the loan part, because I was not expecting that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, only that. Thank
Right.
you. Yeah.
Right. Chair, if I may add to what Dr. Piri has said in the explanation of the uncomfortableness.
Yeah.
So,
When you're done, I need to contribute as well. Thank you.
yes, that's all right. So the purpose of the Bretton Woods institutions, if, as Dr. Piri has said, if anybody cares to look at the history and how it was set up, its purpose is to today is to enforce the use of the dollar in international trade. The reason America shall we say went into Iran is over the dollar, because if American presence in the Middle East collapses and petrodollar is no longer going to the American economy through Wall Street, then the American economy cannot sustain itself in terms of paying the debt, because America owes the biggest debt on the planet. So the reason I'm adding to what Dr. Piri said, is that the reason why we are almost uncomfortable is because when you accept IMF World Bank loan, it means that you have to pay it with the dollar. So the loan system that the IMF World Bank gives is a way of binding recipient countries into the use of the dollar, you see, which, remember, is just paper. It has no value. It's just basically paper that you go to the toilet with. That is how valuable the dollar is. It has no value in itself. You understand? Whereas our resources like gold, uranium, diamond, cocoa, cotton, and so on, these have value in themselves, you see. So the American system, the purpose is to bind us. When I say us, I mean the whole global, everybody, not just Africa, everybody within the dollarized system, and to continue to use the dollar in international trade. Now, there was a big shift, if you recall, when Russia was thrown out of the SWIFT system. Then they created, well, alongside China, a new system where they don't have to use the SWIFT system, and America panicked, right? Because one of the guarantees they gave the world was that they will not weaponize the dollar, okay? And then they did. So now nobody trusts America when it comes to the dollar. So everybody has been looking for ways and means of how they can protect themselves, you see. So when a country like Burkina Faso, Chad, and and so on, the ES, when they come out and throw out a former imperialist nation, as notorious as France, because France is a criminal organization on the continent. If you look at what France has done, France murdered presidents. Sylvester Olympia was murdered by the French. Basically, France's actions on the continent has not been conducive to our well-being. Think about, why do you think Kagame had to uproot France, including the French language, from Rwanda? Why? Because of I leave it to describe however you like. But the point I am making is that one of the reasons why we are uncomfortable, Sister Ida, is because if you are saying that you are going to move in the same direction as Kagame did, both of you being soldiers, we know Kagame is aligned with America. So our people expected that you show an example of not continuing to bind yourself in the system that is part of our problem, you see. And that is why it's been very, 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 very disappointing. But like I said, look, in Nkrumah, the great Osajifo, Kwame Nkrumah, he took loans from the World Bank. The Akosombo Dam was built with World Bank loan. So is Traore doing something that hasn't been done before? No. As we speak now, Senegal is in turmoil because of the Pastel party split in two. Now we have the presidency against parliament. Sonko in the parliament, Faye in the presidency, and now who knows what will happen? Over what? Over the same IMF World Bank. You see, these people, as Sister Portia continues to remind us, they are not our friends. They are not. They're not there for us. As Sister Portia continues to remind us, it's a racist capitalist system. So, Chair, I think I'll pause there. Thank you. So that so you can share your thoughts. Just so you know, Sister Portia has her hand up.
Sister Portia.
Thank you. I want to read a quote. By Fred Hampton, because I think it's applicable to what we're talking about. And to Sister's Ida point in the chat, she said I thought they were paying off the loans. This is what Fred Hampton had to say about imperial oppressors. We got to face some facts that the masses are poor, that the masses belong to what you call the lower class. And when I talk about the masses, I'm talking about the white masses. I'm talking about the black masses and the brown masses and the yellow masses too. We've got to face the fact that some people say you fight fire best with fire, but we say you put fire out best with water. We say you don't fight racism with racism. We're going to fight racism with solidarity. We say you don't fight capitalism with no black capitalism. You fight capitalism with socialism. So the IMF, even if the loans are paid off, is still up in the country. The after effects, the traumatization. So this is why some people are upset. I posed this question in another Pan-African group. They didn't answer the question. They skipped over it and said, well, the United States is the reason why Rwanda is how it is. Because a lot of people allegedly feel that Kagame has done some crimes against humanity. And so how the person said it was, the only reason why Kagame is doing this is because the United States of America et al. Are letting Kagame run rampant. And it's like, wait a minute. How the U.S. is going to be involved in an African nation? Even just look at that psychology right there. The reason why Africa is not in check is because oppressors are not checking Africa. Come on. So all I'm saying is we just got to be gentle with ourselves, and we got to be accountable with ourselves too. We can't be doing crimes against humanity, against our people. And then when we go to hold us account, we say, well, you know, the reason why we having these crimes against humanity is because the United States of America government is letting us do it. Thank you.
So, Chair, I think you wanted to share your thinking or your your yeah, your idea. So I'm happy to step in whilst you do that, and then Brother Welcome, and then you can take over, and then Brother Welcome can speak after you. Thank you.
Okay. My comment was going to be on the policing, but the MFI thing.
IMF. No, you can ignore that and just
IMF
stick
thing.
to the topic. No, it's fine.
I was just searching whilst people were talking. It turns out they've been using it since 2023. So they extend and extend and extend. So anyway, that's that. But also, anyway, he's got his own reason and probably has ways of paying it back. And because he wants to speed things up in his country, maybe take the money, use it, send it back. I don't know. Anyway, in terms of policing, as people have already said what the police are doing in different countries. In my country, I don't think we have a police anymore. It's there on paper, but in practice, it's not. You can't have a case that you can say, as an ordinary person, I'm going to report you to the police or I'm taking this to the police. It does not work. So, like South Africa, people take matters in their own hands. They deal with the thief. They deal with the whoever and whoever. They only come in when people have taken it too far to make it look like they're doing something. But when the case goes there, the police have a habit of double dealing. So I take somebody to police, then they've got the person with them, then they start dealing with him, saying, oh, don't worry, we'll sort it out for you. Meaning they will talk to me to stop whatever if he pays them. And then they'll be saying to me as well, oh, we do this, we do that. But if you pay that, so if you haven't got the money or you don't want to pay, nothing happens. Even if you pay them, they're still not going to do anything. They're just interested in taking money. So the whole policing system has broken down. And like we say, it's from the colonial. They've been trained under the same system, so nothing changes in the way they deal with us. But what do we replace with the police if we got rid of them? At the moment, the community is dealing with matters themselves, one. Two, in the beginning, that's what the community used to do. The community used to deal with matters themselves. Brother Pigeon's slides, at the beginning, it's got a few people sitting under the tree, and that's how it's done. Even when we watch all these African movies, from the Nigerians to the Malawians to whichever ones, matters are being dealt in the community. Hardly do you see them bringing in the police. It's dealt with, it's closed. They pay a little sum to the chief or whoever. In my country, every single constituency has a chief, has a councillor, has a whoever and whoever. So all these duplicates, then you get the police, then you have councillors, then you have ministers, then you have all sorts of people dealing with the same matters. Why don't we stream them down? Because even the corruption cases, if somebody is said to have been corrupt, in my country that is, the police will come to your house to get you and then take you to the police. But after that, the matter is handed over to what they call the Anti-Corruption Bureau, who are not police officers. They're just political appointments. They do the they take up the case, they do the investigation all the way to the end. So it skips the police, it goes through the Anti-Corruption Bureau to the judges, and the judges are equally corrupt from what's happening now. They have to shop around to find a judge who will be friendly to either get the person off the hook or whatever, or the president will step in to say, oh, let's drop the case because he will be implicated. So you then think, What's the role of the police in all this? If you bring the Anti-Corruption Bureau on the case, how does somebody independent from another organization come into your department to do investigation? Will the department cooperate? I don't think so. They'll say, okay, come in and investigate. Let's see where you're going to start from and how you're going to access our records and find our records and find the evidence. That's why the whole thing never works, because it's all designed to divert. As far as police is concerned, we don't have any transport. We don't have any transport to bring you. Can you come over? If I'm reporting from outside the country, oh, send someone to come over. They don't want to speak to me. They want to speak. It's my case, but they want me to send somebody else who knows nothing about it. And nothing ever works. So we don't go to the police anymore. The last time I tried, I gave up. I said to myself, there's even no point. If you can't deal with it at home, forget about it. It's happened, and that's what. So that's what I'm saying. The police, I don't know what system, but in the past it worked without them. The police were dealing with the colonials. We had our own system. If somebody has stolen a chicken, we even had less theft. So the cases were not as huge as they are now. Now people know that the police is not going to do anything for you. So they'll take it all the way to destroy you, to steal your things, to destroy anything, to steal anything, because there's no policing. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Chair, I was sharing exactly what you were saying, the statistics for that. Across the continent, only 41% trust our security services. So there is no. So I know Dr. P was saying, if we abolish them, then what next? But the situation is really bad. Our people don't trust the police across the whole of Africa. There's little confidence in the police. But anyway, Chair, back to you. Chair. My brother,
and
welcome.
Also, just one little thing. Yeah, just one little thing. In Malawi, we even had courts, what we call traditional courts. So instead of going into that constitutional one, the formal one, or the whatever you call it, you had the option to go to the traditional court. And it was so quick. You go in, there will be chiefs on the panel. And you just explain. And they make a ruling according to the tradition or what they think fit. Okay, so you pay him so much or give him a chicken, or what would happen under the tree is exactly, but they were in buildings, proper courts. So, and then what we've seen in South Africa, people being beaten when the policeman is standing there watching.
The police have been helping.
People inspecting immigration papers. Recently, they were going into houses, searching the whole house, mattresses, flipping them. And the police is watching them. They are the ones doing the inspection, not the police. So you're thinking, what's happening there? Is the police scared that when they go home, these people will go after them? Or are they just the government trying to please people to say, oh, it's okay now, we've got the police out, when they're doing nothing, just walking around, doing nothing? Thank you.
Yeah, Chair, you are the one sharing. So, yeah, thank you.
Yes, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'm very impressed how we are trying to shield Burkina Faso and Traore in his latest move of taking the IMF loan. And I understand. We fell in love with him, and we really praised his actions. He was a beacon of hope, or maybe he still is. But in my opinion, we are just trying to sugarcoat has done. And I think the writing is then on the wall. Kwame Nkrumah has taken a loan for IMF, yes, because he didn't have much options. Now that we have the options of what do you call this thing? Is it Swiss or is it Swift? There's an alternative to that thing. And we cannot allow to give strength back to the American dollar while it is worthless. We have to look at the other alternatives if we are really genuine in decolonizing Africa, if we are really serious about the progress of Africa. Why didn't he look east, where there is an alternative to the SWIFT, or whatever the thing you call?
Or south.
Or south. Why didn't he come to Namibia? We will give him all our uranium resources, and he only give us one atomic bomb after 3 years. Thank you. Thank
Sorry,
you, Madam
Chair. Sorry, Madam Chair.
I know. And they've been giving us so many records saying he's now making so much money because he stopped all these contracts. He's now got this so much money.
And he even opened a tomato factory.
Yes.
Where is that money from the tomato factory?
Yeah,
it's difficult.
So we have
but we have to bite the bullet anyway.
Brother Welcome, as you were speaking, I put the macro intelligence map for Burkina Faso on the slide for you.
Yeah, I can see.
You can see there is utilization of newly acquired sovereign or leased satellite capabilities for continuous border monitoring and counter-insurgency operations. And the goal is an eye in the sky approach to neutralize asymmetrical threats and secure vast porous borders. But then here is a systemic risk, which I think we are all mentioning. That is that the intense militarization of intelligence, right?
Yeah.
It creates a highly capable state apparatus that monitors its territory from orbit, but remains entirely disconnected from the human intelligence and civic trust on the ground. Trust is what we are discussing here. They are losing our trust. And I was speaking to a brother in South Africa today earlier, and I was saying to him, you guys, you say you don't agree with what fellow South Africans are doing, but do you realize the damage that you are doing to trust? Africans are losing trust in you guys. Africans, you are losing Africa's goodwill. If tomorrow the Cape wants to break away and you guys rise, no African country will come to your help. This is where you are heading for. Wake up, you guys who don't agree. Say something. You're all quiet. When we say, you say you don't agree with your other South Africans, but we are not hearing you. The video circular doesn't include you saying anything because it looks like you are just there folding your arms, looking at what is happening. That makes you complicit. Do you not understand? Anyway, I was talking to my brother in South Africa earlier today. Chair, I'm just backing what our brother is saying. Civic trust on the ground. And here the ground is from America to wherever, Africa, Europe, all those who basically, they began to have some faith restored that Africa was going the right direction with Traore, and then suddenly civic trust is now being threatened. So yeah, so I just thought I would add that. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else something to say? So that's the policing and IMF business going on. So, well, they said they had taken Jacinta to court today. What happened? Do you know anything, Brother Piri?
No, I think the court case is on Monday, I think.
Oh, it's not. It hasn't happened yet.
No, it hasn't happened yet. Yeah.
I suppose she'll do the same as Mchunu did. Just threw away the paper in court, told them they were dogs, and walked out. Nothing happened to him.
Anyway, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, Chair. So if you
Yes.
can we can move to announcements and then bring the meeting to a close.
Yes. So you do the announcements.
Yeah, thank you.
And then Sir Windog will close for us.
Thank you. So brothers and sisters, the announcements are as follows. Next week, we are going to June. The half of the year is now upon us, and the next 6th of June is the next Saturday. Our topic is on economics, and that is continental industrial planning. And if we can draw from the book that Sister Portia shared with us, that would be great. And that is continental industrial planning from a socialist perspective, because we can't have a capitalist industrial planning. It will not work for us. So that's the 6th of June. Then we have labor skills and productive capacity the following week. Then we have for liberation, cultural decolonization as resistance. So if anybody can speak to decolonizing the African mind in terms of what Ngugi has said, please prepare for that. And then we have also managing diversity within unity, which is on the last Saturday of June. So those are the topics, brothers and sisters. Please, if you can get in touch with Brother Pigeon or myself, and then we can we can kind of schedule you to speak on any of those. That's the first announcement. Second announcement is that we are Monday, as usual, defeating dictators will meet. On Tuesday, there is an AU, the social committee, the one that we are trying to apply to sit on. And that Sister Portia is leading us on. They have 2 sessions, I understand it, in the coming week or 2. Sister Portia will mention it again, so those of you who want to attend can attend. But what is important is that those of you who have come forward to say that you want to be part of the application led by Sister Portia, we are meeting on Tuesday, and I'll be doing a presentation on the Kwame Nkrumah Trust for us. So that is on Tuesday. I believe there is also another meeting on Swahili, if I'm correct, on the same Tuesday. And then on Thursday, we shall meet as usual to discuss further consensusism, the philosophy and ideology for decolonization, with particular reference to the African continent or the African Revolution. That is on Thursday. So for this Saturday, next Saturday is 6th June, it's continental industrial planning. Chair, there are no further announcements as far as I can tell, unless Sister Ida has anything she thinks I've missed. Otherwise, I don't think I've missed anything.
No, Professor Kwame, pardon me, Madam Chair, may I have the floor?
Go ahead.
Professor Kwame, I just am careful about the AU ECOSOC name. This is not anything, what we are doing has nothing to do with AU ECOSOC in terms of official AU ECOSOC meeting. We are not in a position to do that. What we want to do is, under the Kwame Nkrumah Trust, we want to apply for African diaspora seat under the 5th Permanent General Assembly, which is led by the African Union Economic, Cultural, and Social Council.
Right. Thank you for that correction, ECOSOC. Sister Portia. Yes. Thanks for the correction. So Sister Portia has corrected me. Thank you very much. So for those of you who don't know, Sister Portia is leading us on this interesting venture. Thank you.
Sister Ida?
Can I ask Sister Portia, was there meant to be something on Monday as well? as Tuesday, that she was going
Yeah,
to Zoom. Because I
yes,
know,
Sister Ida. Hmm.
okay, because I know that you put it in, or said you were going to put it in the group chat, but I'm not in that. And as I was asking Brother Kwame if he could put it in the research um, group, so that
Yes, yes, I will.
so
Yeah.
there's one on Monday and Tuesday.
I
Yes,
don't.
for pardon me, for clarification, the one on Monday, June 1st, is by the African Union ECOSOC. It's two sessions, one for the continental civil society organizations who may consider applying to be considered for said seats. And then there is one specifically for African diaspora civil society organizations. And you are correct. I've only been putting that in the WhatsApp CSG proposed application WhatsApp group because I didn't want to, I wanted to be respectful of what each group's focus is. But I'm happy to share it with you, Sister Ida. I don't know what Professor Kwame
You,
thinks. Over to
you,
you.
do you want to do it directly with Sister Ida, or would you like her to join the proposed application in WhatsApp? Or
But
what would Sister Ida like to do?
be part of that. So I was trying to find a different way of finding the information. So and I know the research group quite often gets things.
But you know, Sister Portia has set up, or we've set up a separate WhatsApp specifically for the application.
You've set up a separate WhatsApp. Oh, I didn't know that. I thought
Yeah,
it was
there's a
just.
separate WhatsApp for the application. So I think that's where you should be. Then you can get all the information directly. Would you like us to add you to
Sister
that?
or Sister Ida, I can send it to you because I know that you've earned so many groups. I can just send it to you. I don't mind doing that,
Thank
Sister
you.
Ida.
Thank
Mm,
you, Sister Portia.
mm.
Thank you.
And yeah, and also we can add you to that specific WhatsApp for the application, if that's okay with you. Thank you. Right. So, Chair. So I think you said Brother Welcome should close us. Is that correct? Although he's not here, I think he's left.
Oh, he's not here.
I think his internet maybe.
Okay.
So you'll have to close it yourself, I'm afraid.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Oh, we've got 2 minutes though, in case anybody wants to say something in the 2 minutes, or we close early.
Thank you for chairing, Sister Grace.
Very diplomatic. Yeah,
Right. Okay.
no,
Thank you
thank you
very
very
much,
much.
everyone, for coming. And it's been a busy week with Africa Day. So many meetings, so many events. I'm just coming from one. We had ours today. And yes, so we see again on, is it Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Thank you very much. Thank you.